All right, welcome to another video from the chart reader. So today we are going to do the EV sector and I'm adding NIO to this. There was a request to add NIO and I'm happy to do it. Again, if you want me to add any tickers to any of my videos or hey, even make a new video, don't hesitate to ask. So what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to look for the daily and the weekly. We're going to look for some good swing trades. We're going to use our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD and the RSI for our lower indicators confirmation. So what's happened, right? The last time I made the video was the 31st. And really the goal was to break this line and then just fill a nice gap, maybe to here. Hey, if not all the way to up here, right? That really was the goal. And then on the video, I definitely said the day after, it's probably going to show the cards, right? What really sucks is it actually opened up here, right? It looked like it was going to smash the day. Actually ran pretty high as well, right? Got almost to 340, got 337, give or take, right? And then just boom, end of the day closes under, right? We talk about confirmation, and let's just kind of talk about the way it broke the 20, right? So this first day it did not, right? It opened here, got real high, and then closed here. There's no break of the 20. On this day, it actually does the opposite, right? It opens here. It actually looks like it was going to crash and then comes up here. Definitely breaks the 20. Obviously, both of them don't get over this line, right? This day right here, yes, we're definitely over the line, right? We're over the 20 on 2 days. However, I always say confirmation should be above the day before, right? Like this is confirmation of this one, right? This guy finished up here. This guy finished up here. I'm good with that, right? This didn't quite do that, you know? So the confirmation isn't as good as you want it to be, right? And again, when you're putting your hard-earned money into what essentially is the slot machine that we call stocks, right? You want a little more certainty, a little more confirmation, all that sort of stuff, right? Then again, like I said, it looked like it was going to go. During the day, it kept going. However, it's the end of the day that matters. Definitely just it just look, this guy, hold on. Nope, don't click on that line. Give me a second. This guy again ended up here at 228. This bad boy definitely finished down here at 227 and change, right? So, boom. Again, obviously from here, these ones you should already know because we're under the 8, under the 8. And look, today was a 5% drop. Oh, it looks like we're getting some after hours. Hold on, let me do something real quick. We're going to do show data for regular hours only. That's all we care about is regular hours. After hours are definitely important, but that's not part of this. And again, a bad 5% drop, but really, look, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days under the 8 should be no surprise, right? At this point, look, let's be honest. I'm really assuming bad things, and you know I don't like to zoom out too much, but I noticed this earlier today, so this is a pretty good view. It doesn't look that dramatic until you kind of zoom it out here, but that's a really bad RSI. It's obviously gone as low as, what is this? Yeah, 15, give or take, actually hits this peak too. This right here we can kind of call an average. Yeah, I think so, right? We also hit it back here, same line. It could go down to 21, right? And if that was to happen, again, zoomed out too much, that's why I have my lines basically going to this 200 on the weekly. It kind of wants to turn up, don't get me wrong, and hey, maybe this 191 will be a good little bounce point, but yeah, that green 8 moving average looks like it wants to keep going down. I'm not seeing any sort of let's start the curve up, you know? So bad line to lose. I mean, again, this is going to be the next line. Otherwise, we are coming down here, right? This 163 should definitely be a good bounce point, and hey, maybe right here, maybe this 180, the bottom of that wick right there might be something. But again, Tesla definitely not looking good over this week period easily, right? I mean, today's Monday, so yeah, Tesla, no bueno for sure. Ford was making a real nice run, and look at this. Look at this. So again, I called Ford the week before, right? So it looked like a real nice break of both the 8 and the 20. Was able to also break this 1250. Even if you got in at the 1250 break, right? There's good movements right there. Definitely a little choppy right here, right? Because again, I always say it, when there's 1, 2, 3 lines, it's a little hard to break and it becomes a little clustery, right? However, this does look real nice. We actually broke this 1370. And in all honesty, there's a pretty clean ride to what we can essentially say is this line right here. So again, if this opens up well, I can easily see this going to 1450 right here, like I said, up to here. I wish the RSI was a little better. Again, it's a little high, don't get me wrong, but this is a nice day. I'm actually really glad to see that, look, we break it, we drop, actually almost drop a lot, but then are able to catch up, right? And pretty much just ride the 8 from there, right? So, yeah, again, I'm liking this. I like that this day was better than that day. Hopefully we literally break over this line, break over today, and just make a nice little gap fill up to this 200 line. So, hey, real nice if you've been following Ford, honestly. Looking at the weekly, interesting. Look at that. Looks like we are going to be getting over the 20 on the weekly. We've seen so many stocks, sorry about that, struggle to get over this 20. So love seeing that. Not a good RSI, but definitely a nice MACD. And hey, a real good setup. Very early in the week. Obviously, it's Monday and we're talking about the weekly already, right? But I like this daily for sure. And again, if this opens well, there's very little resistance because again, the next resistance is pretty much here, and that's 1450 and only a little bit away from the 200, right? So Ford just keeps on trucking. I'm loving it. I am loving it. So I got a lot of slack for MULN because MULN has, I mean, it's a little bit of a cult following. Let's be honest, right? The last video I made was the 31st, and I was pessimistic. I was. On this week before, I was optimistic, right? And why is that? Nothing but riding the 8, right? This looked like an obvious good break. We did not see a crash the day after, which is nice. We actually finished above. And hey, look, we got almost over, if not pretty much to 50% candle. And this day was better than this day, right? Again, I care more about green candles in general. But yeah, again, let me say that one more time. A good break of both lines. This following day, though it was red, it literally closed above the entire thing. And then the following candle did way better than this green one, right? So I'm happy with that. That's why we were still optimistic going into this video, which I made on the weekend. And then we saw the pop. From there, I was still pretty good. I wish it did a little more. I mean, honestly, we wanted it to go a little closer to the 100 than it did, right? However, again, once you start to see the curve, once there is no bounce, and look, that's a sad gap down, right? And I know it looks like it's the worst, but clearly there was another 50% after that, right? And I remember on this day saying on the last video, which was the 31st, this is not looking good. A lot of passionate people, like I said, gave me a good amount of grief for it, right? But I'm not here to say MULN's a bad stock. I'm just here to say, hey, it's a bad swing. And I mean, this is literally as bad as it gets, right? So the last video I made, this thing was sitting at 48. Today we're sitting at 26. Not a good thing. And again, just looking at the 8, there's nothing that kind of says let me curve it back, right? If I zoom out a bit, I mean the 100's there, and I'm imagining the 2. Yeah, we're under all the lines right now, right? The goal was to kind of keep going up, just like Ford was, right? Let's look at Ford one more time. You break these, you move on up to the next line, you struggle a little bit. Hey, it looks like you've made it through and now you're working here, right? I love it. MULN, again, I'm sure one day they're going to start pumping out cars and we're going to be laughing at the 26-cent days. However, you would be crying. I would be crying if I had my money at the 50s and it dropped to the 26. Oh my goodness, right? So again, I'm not here to bash. I'm just here to say, hey, this seems like it's coming, right? So weekly, I imagine, and then look, it's not great, right? And again, you kind of hopefully saw it at the end of the 30, oh, this is the 4th, right? Yeah. Wait, sorry, this is how the week started. No, we were right here on the last one. Nope. What am I doing? I got lost. The 31st, this was the last week, right? We were working our way up. Again, you don't see... Oh, man, I got lost on the weekly to my last video. Sorry about that. Either way, bad weekly, right? These two go up, clearly lose it. Again, it's only Monday, so it's still a little early. However, it seems like we're already under this candle, right? Because we're sitting down here. This one ended here. If we go lower than this, 24, that's going to be really bad. Do I have any lines under 24? I don't think so, actually. Sorry to zoom out so much. Nah, yeah, this is all-time lows. Let me make a line right there. Again, do not want to go any lower than this. And then again, make sure you see 4 decimals wherever you're moving your money. This is simulated buying power. The only reason I'm using this system is because it has the 1 in it, and we're using chart readers here, right? So make sure whatever you move your money can see 4 decimals. Some of these can, some of these can't. I actually sent an email to this thing's customer support, and they didn't have a very definitive answer. But LIDR, LIDR. Okay, again, last video was on the 31st. It seemed like this wanted to go, definitely did not. Looked like we were, and we actually were under the 8 moving average. And then look, again, this is nice, don't get me wrong, but no, we want 2-day confirmation at the minimum. This should have been no surprise, right? So I'm telling you, I love the 8. I promise you. I'm not here to bash any of these, but yeah, I always say it, your money's not worth it till it's at least over the 8. And really, the 20 is such a magical line, right? Because that's when the gaps start getting a little bit bigger, right? I mean, it's yeah, just think about, like, this is more than double right there. This is more than double right there. This is double, right? So, yeah. But again, nothing looking good here on the daily, nothing looking good here on the weekly. And again, if the weekly's not looking great, right, you can only imagine that the dailies aren't going to be good, and any sort of up is going to be not sustained, right? And sustained is our goal. LIDR, not too much else to say. EVGO, EVGO. All right, EVGO, look, again, this is pretty much what's happening. We're sitting in a tight cluster. I know it's only 2 lines, but again, I've said it a bunch of times on this, right? The 20 is no joke. And just getting over the 8 is no joke, right? We've seen that on a bunch of these videos. So 2 lines obviously sounds like less than 3 and 4, but hey, it is a cluster on its own, and you're seeing the choppiness here. Immediately speaking, we are 5 days, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days under the 8, and then all these days have been under the 20, actually. This one started over the 20, but definitely closed down here, right? And a bunch of inter-day attempts at breaking it, but again, that's not a great RSI. Just coming to the weekly again, look, number of weeks. We're at months at this point under the 8, right? Again, if the weekly's not looking good, if the weekly isn't over the 8, let alone the 20, right? I mean, it's not going to shape up well for the daily. So I'm repeating myself a bunch, but hopefully you're getting why, right? It's worth the noise, I would like to say. Hey, check this out. I could see why NIO was brought to my attention. Obviously, there's no line, so I'll make a couple lines here. But let's talk about this real quick, right? I'm going to zoom out. Oh, my goodness. So, again, oh, yeah, look, again, all this is pretty much textbook if you're watching a lot of my videos. I'll stop right here. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines out of the 5 moving averages, right? All we're doing is riding this cluster, riding horizontal this cluster. Ooh, very scary there. Nice run, but again, the 200 says no, no, no. And I've always said it, the 200 slap down could be really ugly, okay? At the inverse, I think it was Tesla on the weekly, all right? I know it still looks really far, but the 200 slap up could be really nice, right? Just as bad as this 200 slap down was, okay? So just keep that in mind for sure. But nonetheless, what are we doing? We're going horizontal, eventually lose the 8, lose the cluster, and fall down, right? I always say it, you either go up, 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 or you lose it and go down, 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 right? Where are we at immediately, right? All these days under the 8. Big gap up, right? Literally start over the 8, break the 20, come down to under the 20, right? Because if I'm looking at it, we closed at 1098 on the top and the 20 is at 1099. So we are a penny under the 20, right? I'm glad both days are over the 8. Don't get me wrong. At this point, I need a green candle right here, right? Literally, what did this go at? This is at literally right here, 1170. If we can close at least here, if not, hey, obviously this is even better, right? But I want a green candle that's upward, right? That will make me believe we've actually gained the 20 and we're wanting to go up to this 50, right? That's the game we like to play. I don't like this RSI, don't get me wrong, but again, we've been down here for a good while. I'm glad we're at least starting to go up. I'm glad this looks like it's starting to go up. I'm actually okay with it as long as we get our green day right here. So me personally, look, I have no money in this one. I wouldn't buy this yet. I would wait to see what this day looks like and then probably make a move either after hours or on Wednesday. That's how I play my technical game. Now look, if it gaps up too much, too close to this, in my head, that's gonna eat up a lot of the profit I'm hoping. If this closes tomorrow near 13, I'd love to ride that to 15. Are you kidding me? That's what, 10, is that 20%? It's a little under 20%. That's smooth, right? Because again, I haven't made the line yet, but 13 is here, and then nothing but red, red, red till right there. Boom. I would love that, right? So just me talking out loud before I go into the weekly, and let's draw some lines real quick. So we'll do the top of this bad boy. We're going to do the top and the bottom, actually, of this bad boy. Or bad girl. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to hate. Oh, interesting. I don't know if this is going to interfere with that gap. I think a little bit. So that 14, 16 is going to be the number between that 13, 15 gap. But really, that's a lot closer to 15 anyway. So, hey, not too shabby. That's definitely the number we want to break. And then let's, I'll use this actually. I think that's a good number. That's okay. Could have been a little nicer, but whatever. We'll use that. Okay. Oh, and actually it hits right there. Yeah, I'm good with that. And that one actually hit right there. I didn't even see that. I'm good with that. Beautiful. Okay. This is pretty much the step up and step down. Do I have a step down? Or are we at all-time lows? No, there's still... Oh, I have to make one more. Let me make a couple down here. Again, hopefully we don't go down here, right? But let's at least set some sort of expectation. And then look, I know it's super zoomed out, but hopefully you saw why I made my lines right there, right? There was definitely a gap up once we broke that number. And that right there seemed to start that uptrend right there. So I'm sure there's something in between, basically 8 and 4, basically 8 and 5, but I think this is pretty good for here. So again, I would love to ride 13 to 15, give or take, right? So, and hey, if it even does like 1250, even more, because that might make it a little more comfortable to put my stops right here, right? So, yeah, NIO, I'm really glad I added it to this video. I'm running way longer than I wanted to. Oh my goodness. All right, this is another one, right? I get a lot of grief for this thing, right? Actually did a little bit all right. It's starting to go horizontal in this, right? Still isn't breaking the 20. I'm telling you, if this could break the 20, that's going to be some nice trading, right? Hopefully towards the 50. This definitely can get volume. We all know that. And hey, this MACD does look pretty nice. But I always say it, I like the RSI a little bit more, and that's not quite a bullish RSI in my book, right? Yeah, nothing too crazy. I mean, it looks like it's actually done all right since the last video. I mean, it's actually almost even since the last week, it looks like. But hey, these are getting tighter together, and though it's only two, it's either going to go up or it's going to go down, right? So just keep that in mind. Okay, all right, it's a little early in the weekly. Hopefully this becomes a little bit better, but hey, look, we're starting to maybe see a curve. We're at least doing relatively well compared to this day. Maybe we start making an attempt at getting towards that green line, right? And what is the green line? 448. You can call it roughly 450. Wait, no, sorry. Average 8 is 485. I was like, wait, something was wrong. So maybe this will go a little closer to 485. Nonetheless, right, we're looking for a good break of the 20, hopefully a move to the 50. Right now, there were definitely other tickers that were worth it, but this is starting to look a little better, mainly because this is starting to go horizontal, and you know, you've seen it. This will either break up or break down, right? VLDR was looking really good on the last video. Ooh, definitely a hard fail there. That does suck. Okay. Hey, look, again, hopefully you saw it, right? Once you lose most of this day, then from here you actually close under the 8. Then you just kind of start going under the 8, right? This is nice. It is in a couple different ways, right? Because you actually make a real good attempt during the day at the 50. It doesn't touch it, but hey, I got closer than it did on this run, right? And then there were moments where I thought I was going to fail, right? This is starting to turn up and that's starting to turn up. Tomorrow could be a really interesting day for VLDR. Because again, this isn't as extreme as some that we've seen it, but this is a doji right here. Big move up, big move down, pretty much start and stop where it ended, right? And a lot of this gap was just filled, right? So, yeah, I would watch VLDR because honestly, this might be making up for what was looking like a good run, but just definitely failed, right? So, not bad. This definitely can go, again, hopefully it would go to the 50, hopefully it'd go to the 100, hopefully it'd go to the 200, right? And I got some of my lines in between there. But VLDR, definitely worth looking at tomorrow. Still a couple, maybe a little better, right? At least NIO, I think, looks a little better. Solo was also doing all right, and this is actually trending on the 8 really well. Again, definitely looks choppy, don't get me wrong, but I'm seeing all of the days, every single one since the last video, trading above the 8. I like that. That's not that good. Why are you starting to cool down right here, RSI? I like you to cool. You should be going a little closer to 80, right? Maybe it's a little too close to the 50 for comfort and it decided to come down. Definitely could not get over this 122 line. Tested it here and here twice during the week. But again, hopefully all we're doing is coming back to the 8 and then bouncing back up, right? Because we go from a bounce here, maybe a bounce here, and then go over the 50. I would like that, actually. That's using 2 lines to break the third one. Very happy with that move. But again, ugly RSI. I can definitely see this maybe closing under here. So we will see. And then lastly, ooh, I got to answer this. Charge point. Charge point looks bad. All right, hope you're learning.